So it's time to do a little speculation. So Tim Kennedy went on Joe Rogan's podcast recently, and they started talking about politics, as Joe Rogan does from time to time. And Joe Rogan floated the idea that he would be open to moderating a debate between Joe Biden and Donald Trump. Now, he had a few stipulations that it would have to be just the three of them, that he wanted it to be live, and a few other things. But regardless, I honestly, I saw it and I was like, okay, whatever. Joe Rogan says this stuff all the time. But Tim Kennedy, he tweeted on my podcast with at Joe Rogan, he offered to moderate a debate between at Joe Biden and at real Donald Trump. It would be for 4 hours with no live audience, just the two candidates, cameras, and their vision of how to move the country forward. Who wants this? Hashtag debates, hashtag election 2020. Now, even I saw this tweet. I was like, okay, this still doesn't really worth talking about. But what's that right above? What's that right above the Tim Kennedy tweet? Donald Trump tweeted, I do, implying that he is down to do the debate. Now, honestly, even with this, I don't, it's like, okay. But we do know also that after Bernie Sanders went on Joe Rogan's podcast, there was a lot of positive feedback for Bernie, and that all the candidates basically reached out to Joe Rogan. Biden was one of them, and said that he wanted to come on. And so now we know that Donald Trump and Joe Biden have expressed interest in going on Joe Rogan's podcast, which I think makes it worth talking about, because that is something that is a very interesting concept, because would be nothing like what we have ever seen during a presidential debate before. I really think it'd be nothing even remotely close like that, especially if Joe Rogan gets to do it the way that he wanted to. Now, I think there are a couple different factors that could go into how I think that this would go. And do I think that this is likely? No, I don't think this is likely to happen. But it is an interesting thing to think about, and it's not outside the realm of possibility. I think that if Joe Biden does whatever he did before his debate with Bernie, some people speculate that he took some sort of upper Adderall, something like that, to increase his debate performance. He definitely did a lot better in that debate than he did with his previous debates with Bernie. I don't think it's outside the realm of possibility. I also think that it's not that crazy that Donald Trump probably does it too. This is something that we know that people that have these kind of jobs that they do, and so I don't think it's crazy that either of them have done it. If both of them do it, let's just assume that they're both at peak performance. I could see this going. Here's the problem with Joe Rogan a little bit, and we saw this when he interviewed Jack Dorsey. He isn't super confrontational, at least not from the get-go. And, he has had many complaints about how he felt like Twitter has handled itself. And when he talked to Jack Dorsey, he just was, at least the first time, he was just pretty, non-confrontational about it, because I just doesn't really feel like that's the kind of guy that he is. Now, I think that with these two, there would be a lot of pressure on him. I think that he would probably really, really plan what he wants to talk about. Even though he would say that he wants it to be natural, I think that he would be crazy to not plan what he's going to talk about. And so I think that it is. I would worry that both of them would get away with saying things without Joe Rogan pressing them on him. Without Joe Rogan pressing them. That being said, Joe Rogan actually presses people in interviews more than like 99% of interviewers out there. He really actually does a phenomenal job at this. And so I think that if there's someone that's going to do it, that is going to call them out in a way that you never see debate people, the normal moderators do, it would be Joe Rogan. I really think that Joe Rogan will call these guys out we haven't, things that we haven't really seen people do. I think that is what we would see. I'm worried that Donald Trump would have a better showing. I just am. I just don't think that Joe Biden. Donald Trump has experience being on TV and stuff, and obviously Joe Biden has been a public figure for a while. That's different than doing stuff where you have to be just entertaining. And I would worry that the perception would be that Donald Trump would do better, just because I feel like he would be able to come off as more natural, and I think that Joe Rogan would appreciate that. Which is ironic, because I do think that Joe Rogan leans more to the left than Biden. I honestly do. I don't think that that's a crazy thing to say. I think in terms of what they actually believe, I think that Joe Rogan leans significantly to the left of Biden, and obviously to Trump too. And so I think that it would be really. This is an exciting premise, but I also want to float what I think is low key what might be more likely. Donald Trump going on his own, just to go on as a podcast, because Joe Rogan has expressed many times that he would like to have Donald Trump on the podcast, and he talks about doing mushrooms and stuff with him. I don't think that part would happen, but I think that he would definitely let Donald Trump on if he wanted to, and we know now that Donald Trump wants to. And I think what I could see happening is Donald Trump's not doing very good in the polls. He is just not, and people say, "Oh, the polls don't matter. It's too early. All this and that, this and that." We can look at what the polls looked like for other races where things stacked up during those times. Joe Biden has a significant lead compared to Hillary versus Trump, Obama versus Romney, Obama versus McCain, freaking Bush versus Kerry. Biden is way ahead of where those people were. And so I think it's fair to say Donald Trump is not winning right now. Now, there's going to be a lot of craziness in this election. There's going to be with the post office, with mail-in voting, with there is going to be, this is going to be controversial. But I think as it stacks right now, there's no question that Joe Biden doesn't win the popular vote. I think that that's pretty safe to say. I think that people are already saying that. With that being said, I think that Donald Trump might view this as some sort of, not last ditch, but an effort to drive some support that he might not normally get. And so I could see him going on Joe Rogan's podcast. Now, I think that that would also be interesting. I don't see Joe Biden doing it if it's not a debate with Donald Trump. I don't see him going on his own. I think that I don't think that they would trust Joe Rogan not to ruin Joe Biden's image. And honestly, I mean, if I'm talking purely from a strategic standpoint, it's probably true. Joe Biden is not the best when it comes. He's a gaffe machine. He literally blunders. He blundered in his interview with Charlemagne, so it's not that crazy that he would not do well with Joe Rogan. And so I could see Donald Trump going on though, and I could see him trying to get some support from it. Now, I would hope that Joe Rogan presses him because there are some fundamental differences that Donald Trump and Joe Rogan have. There's some huge, huge differences. There's some huge differences between him and Biden too. Now, most of those differences come from the left. Like I'm super. This is super true. Joe Rogan leans left on a lot of issues. He doesn't say he does, but he does. Like besides like gun rights and stuff. But like when it comes to like anti-war, Medicare for all, he's talked about immigration, super pro-immigration, Joe Rogan, and Joe Rogan's pro-choice. There's a lot of stuff that Joe Rogan leans left on. And so I would want Joe Rogan to press him on those things. And I would want him to, kind of give the conversation. I would worry that he would just too much be like, oh, I just want it to be like a normal thing and not confrontational. We'll see. Really interesting. All of this, very, very, very limited chance of actually happening. But it's not impossible. So I'll keep you guys updated and how this is going and, something to look out for. Anyway, if you guys disagree with anything I said, maybe you think Joe Biden would clobber Trump in the debate with Joe Rogan. I question that. Definitely comment down below, though. But if you enjoyed the video, make sure to like and subscribe, and have a great day.